Have you ever wondered where Halloween and its eerie traditions come from? Let's draw back the veil of time to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a celebration marking the end of the harvest season and the onset of the chilling winter. In the Celtic calendar, Samhain was akin to their New Year's Eve. It was a time of transition, when the bountiful earth began to slumber, and the nights grew longer. But there was more to Samhain than just the shift of seasons. The Celts believed that this day blurred the boundaries between the world of the living and the world of the dead. It was thought that the spirits of those who had passed away during the year would mingle with the living one last time before moving on to the afterlife. Now, imagine for a moment, wandering in the dark, knowing that spirits were believed to be roaming about freely. A little spooky, right? This is where the tradition of wearing costumes comes into play. The Celts thought that if they dressed up as spirits themselves, they could blend in and avoid any supernatural harm, and thus, the tradition of donning costumes on Halloween was born. But what about the bonfires and lanterns, you ask? Well, the Celts lit bonfires and carved turnips into lanterns to ward off evil spirits. Over time, these turnips evolved into the more familiar jack-o'-lanterns we carve from pumpkins today. It wasn't all about warding off ghosts, though. Samhain was also a time for the Celts to honor their ancestors and seek guidance for the coming year. They would set places at their dinner tables for the spirits, leaving out food and drink as offerings. So, from the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, with its bonfires, costumes, and communion with the spirit world, a modern-day holiday emerged. It's a fascinating mix of ancient beliefs, superstitions, and customs that have been passed down and adapted through the centuries. And thus, Halloween was born, a blend of ancient beliefs, superstitions, and customs. But how did this ancient Celtic festival evolve into the Halloween we know today? Well, it's a tale that involves a blend of traditions, cultural shifts, and a dash of marketing magic. As the Roman Empire expanded its reach, they encountered the Celts and their Samhain festivities. Intrigued, the Romans merged their own autumnal celebrations with it, adding another layer to the festival. But the real game-changer came with the spread of Christianity. In an effort to convert pagans, the Church often incorporated local customs into Christian practices. This was the case with Samhain. The Church established All Saints' Day, a day to honor all saints and martyrs on November 1st. This was no coincidence. It was designed to replace the pagan festival with a Christian alternative. The night before was known as All Hallows' Eve, a clear nod to the Celtic roots of the celebration. Yet, the spooky spirit of Samhain refused to be forgotten. People continued to celebrate All Hallows' Eve with bonfires, costumes, and tales of the supernatural. Over time, it evolved into a holiday in its own right, and the term Halloween, a contraction of All Hallows' Eve, was born. Now let's hop across the pond to America. Irish immigrants fleeing the potato famine in the mid-19th century brought Halloween with them. Initially, it was more of a community-centered holiday with public events and parades. However, as the 20th century rolled around, Halloween started to lose its religious and ghostly overtones and became more about community and neighborly get-togethers. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that Halloween morphed into the child-centered, trick-or-treating, costume-wearing extravaganza that we're familiar with today, so there you have it. From its roots as a Celtic New Year celebration, through its Christian makeover, to its transformation in America, Halloween has certainly come a long way. From a night of superstition and fear, Halloween evolved into a fun-filled holiday celebrated by millions. What are the stories behind our favorite Halloween traditions and symbols? Let's start with trick-or-treating, a tradition beloved by children and dentists alike. This custom can be traced back to the medieval practice of souling, where the poor would go door to door on Hallowmas November 1st, offering prayers for the dead in exchange for soul cakes. Over time, this practice evolved into the modern-day trick-or-treating we know and love. Next up, the iconic jack-o'-lanterns. These grinning pumpkin faces are a far cry from their origins. The tradition started in Ireland with the tale of Stingy Jack, a man who tricked the devil and was cursed to roam the earth with only a hollowed-out turnip to light his way. Irish immigrants brought this tale to America, found pumpkins more plentiful than turnips, and thus, the Halloween pumpkin was born. Now let's talk about the costumes. Dressing up for Halloween has its roots in ancient Celtic traditions. During Samhain, a festival marking the end of the harvest season, it was believed that the boundary between our world and the spirit world was thinnest. To avoid being recognized by the spirits, people would wear masks and costumes. Moving on to symbols, bats, black cats, and witches are commonplace during Halloween. Bats were associated with Halloween due to the Samhain bonfires, which attracted insects and, consequently, bats. Black cats have been linked with witchcraft since the Middle Ages, and witches themselves became a symbol due to the fear and superstition surrounding them during the Salem witch trials. Finally, the color scheme of Halloween, black and orange. Black is typically associated with death and darkness, fitting for a holiday about the spirit world. Orange, on the other hand, represents the harvest and the changing seasons. Halloween wouldn't be the same without these traditions and symbols, each with a story of its own. How is Halloween celebrated today, and how has it changed over the years? Well, let's open the door to the present and take a peek. Halloween today is a swirl of colorful costumes, spooky decorations, and an abundance of sweet treats. The holiday has largely evolved into a community-centered celebration, with neighborhoods coming together to host costume parades, pumpkin carving contests, and haunted house experiences. Costume parties have become a significant part of Halloween today. People of all ages take pleasure in dressing up as everything from classic monsters to their favorite pop culture icons. It's a time where creativity shines, and the more unique the costume, the better. Haunted houses are another quintessential element of modern Halloween. These are not just your typical cobweb-filled, creaky old houses, but elaborate, professionally designed experiences. Some go the extra mile with live actors, special effects, and intricate storylines, providing a thrilling mix of fear and fun. Pumpkin carving, too, has taken on a life of its own. What was once a simple tradition of carving a scary face into a pumpkin has transformed into an art form. Today, it's not uncommon to see intricately designed, glowing pumpkins showcasing everything from famous faces to intricate landscapes. But Halloween isn't just about costumes and candy anymore. It's become a big business. The commercialization of Halloween has been a significant change over the years. Today, it's one of the largest consumer spending holidays, with people splurging on costumes, decorations, party supplies, and of course, candy. Businesses, too, seize the opportunity to promote Halloween-themed products and services, contributing to the holiday's economic significance. Yet, despite these changes, the essence of Halloween remains. It's a time for community, for imagination, and for a little good-hearted spookiness. It's a day where we can all be kids again, reveling in the magic of the unknown and the thrill of the scare. While Halloween has changed over the years, its spirit of celebration, mystery, and fun remains. So, what have we learned about Halloween? We've journeyed through the mists of time to discover the mysterious origins of this fascinating holiday. Halloween, as we learned, has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, where people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. They believed that the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred on this day, and they used this time to honor the deceased. Fast forward through the centuries, and we saw how Halloween evolved. It was influenced by Christian traditions, eventually morphing into All Hallows' Eve, the night before All Saints' Day. Trick-or-treating, a beloved tradition today, initially began as souling, where the poor would beg for food, and in return they promised to pray for the dead. We then explored the various symbols and traditions associated with Halloween: pumpkins, witches, ghosts, and black cats, to name a few. Each of these has a unique story of their own, intertwined with the history of Halloween. The jack-o'-lantern, for instance, comes from an old Irish tale about a man named Stingy Jack, who tricked the devil and was subsequently denied entry into both heaven and hell. In our modern era, Halloween has become a global phenomenon, celebrated with gusto in many parts of the world. It's a time for dressing up, trick-or-treating, carving pumpkins, and indulging in all things spooky. The holiday has also sparked a major industry, with Halloween-related spending reaching billions of dollars each year. But beyond the fun and frights, Halloween also offers a moment to reflect on our mortality, to honor those who have passed, and to confront our fears in a safe and playful way. It's a testament to the enduring human fascination with the mysterious and the unknown. Next time you celebrate Halloween, remember the rich history and fascinating stories behind this spooky holiday. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.